All right. I mean,
Okay,
you
so
tell me.
with that in mind, we can talk about Mercedes.
Yeah.
So and we can talk about Lewis Hamilton and George Russell there.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
No,
thoughts between those two.
certainly that's the thing that yeah, that we were just saying that that it's just like Hamilton. It, it's not that he's not trying enough. It's like it's more than like I think he's saving his energy. I think he's like he still has the spirit that if he had the car that he could drive for a championship, but the car is not under him at the moment, and it's a very uncomfortable car. So I honestly don't think that like we're gonna see a lot of him. I also don't think he minds George Russell so much taking the spotlight and like driving faster and putting more effort. I think he's fine with it. I think he's fine with it at the moment because he's not driving for like a championship, which is what I think is what he's saying in Formula One for because he wants to get that eighth one.
Part of me feels I don't know if like last year Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. So for example, Leclerc, I feel like he's always been better than Carlos Sainz,
Mhm.
despite of what like the hype last year. Everybody was saying like, "Oh, is Carlos Sainz just as good as Leclerc, etc." But
Yeah.
my honest opinion is that I feel like Leclerc is like, I don't need to put an effort here. You know,
Mhm.
it's like we're not gonna win the championship. It
Yeah.
seems like we're already beating McLaren.
Which is the goal
Uh,
at that point. Yeah.
yeah. So as long as I just drive steady and do whatever,
Yeah.
like we're gonna be fine. And then Carlos Sainz at that point just kept being solid, and
Mhm.
he looked like the superstar. But I think, and then Leclerc's like, oh, is Leclerc like done? And I'm like, no, I think it's kind of like the same thing you're saying about Lewis Hamilton. It's like Leclerc is like, we're not in a championship winning car. We're not fighting for wins here. I'm being as good as I can be, but I'm not gonna give it the extra mile.
Right.
Just like, oh, I'm gonna end up fifth, like 1 second ahead of the guy in front of me. But if I put like an extra mile, I'll end up 5 seconds in front of him, and I'm still fifth. It's like,
Right.
ah, like
Exactly. No, yeah, and also it's like, okay, so I finished the season seventh instead of fifth because I mean, he kind of got screwed at the end of the season as well, but it's like, all right, so, but what's the deal, you know? like, like he knows he's a faster driver. He's, you know, it's just, yeah, it's just sometimes the car is not there. I mean,
yeah.
and
So
that's not to say that like drivers shouldn't try like their hardest like every race, but they also have to like measure themselves. Like, you know, like energy eventually does run out. So you have to like
yep,
keep your energy strong for when you need it.
yeah.
Mhm.
Um, with that in mind, do you think that Mercedes are going to win a race this year?
Well, again, I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I've said this before, but I think anything can happen. I mean, yeah, it could be that the Ferraris and the Red Bulls take each other out, and then like the Mercs are in the right place. Are they gonna win it on merit, like outrace
Yes,
the Red Bulls and Ferraris?
yes,
Maybe. Like I feel like if by half the season, maybe by almost by near the end of the European season, if they are not really there in the pace, or if they come back from the summer break and they're not there in the pace, they are not gonna win any races because they're just gonna put all the effort on the next year. They're gonna try to improve the car for next year. They're gonna try to do as much as they can for this year. But like, I think if they're not even in contention at that point, but they're still going for like third or like a solid third, uh, then they just focus their energy on the next year and then they come back a little bit stronger. I mean, it's still important to finish higher than the McLarens, but so it'll depend on how much they can do at the beginning of the year. If they can fix that terrible porpoising, and like go faster on the straights, I think they can they have a chance at that point.
yeah. And how do you feel about Hamilton being lapped by Verstappen?
I don't know. I feel like that was just drama that the casters like to add a little bit. It's kind of like, I mean, he was stuck. It's not so much that like he got outdriven or that the car was that much slower. I don't think it was. It's
I
just
feel
that
like
like,
I feel like Lewis was definitely faster than Gasly.
yeah.
It's just the track, it doesn't lend itself to do,
Hmm.
what you need to do. Um,
And especially in the rain.
in the rain, yeah. So I thought a couple of times like, oh, he could go on the inside, but like every time you see the onboard from Hamilton, and I'm like, the inside is still fully wet. If
Yeah,
you go on the inside and he
it's
has
gonna
dry
slide.
tires, yeah, he's gonna lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think he did as best as he could, and I mean, he gave it a try for like 25 laps. I don't know, every time just trying to go. And but I think Lewis is like a smart driver in the way that like, hey, I'm not gonna force like an overtake here when like it doesn't exist. Like we're on wet conditions. Um, I'm trying my best to overtake here, but like it's gonna be probably more embarrassing if I'm trying to overtake this dude and then I take
Both
myself
of us
out
out. Yeah.
on like 13th position, like you know.
Exactly.
So I think that Lewis did the best that he could, but
Yeah.
yeah, he just got stuck.
Yeah. I mean, it's not his best weekend, and it's also I don't think he was looking for his best weekend. I think his priority, and I think he's a pretty smart driver, is that he needs to they need to fix the car. They need to just get it in a better spot, and he's just gonna drive it in every weekend to try to get it better. But he's
Yeah,
not trying to
he's just
win.
gonna be solid, and then
Yeah.
he's like, I'm gonna be as solid as I can, as careful as I can, and hopefully the next time we come around, the car is better.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think it can get any worse.
It's probably one of the most evident ones. I mean, the Ferraris bounce a lot too, but somehow they still manage to have the pace. But the Mercedes are like bouncing all over. It's
Yeah,
it's it's actually a little bit, maybe it has to do with the side pods and the way they did them.
I
Uh,
feel I feel like Mercedes think that their concept with the side pods like that is faster than the Red Bull or the Ferrari,
mhm.
as long as they can control the bouncing.
Yeah,
You know, I feel like that's their thought process.
they're
It's
putting the
like
money on that. Yeah.
it's like, hey, our concept is definitely faster. We
Mhm.
just need to fix this issue, and then we'll be good. Uh, Otherwise, or perhaps like maybe the budget cap this year is playing like a role into it. It's like we already spend money on this. Like, do we spend now the money to go back to a different concept,
Yeah.
and then like put resources on that? It's like, who knows like all the factors that are there in contention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so I don't know, it'll be interesting to see. That's what I'm thinking, is that like if they can't get it by like by the summer break, if they can get like a win or close to, getting even. Yeah, I think they might put resources for next year instead. As long as they remain faster than the McLarens, I think.
Okay. All right. Let's leave it at there.